The big news this morning was that Kari Lake lost her last claim in court. And there's a lot to go through there, but the bigger story coming out of all of this conflict in Arizona is that Arizona has banned electronic voting machines in the 2024 election. And I think it's a good consolation prize for those that are fans of Kari Lake that wanted to see more definitive action taken. I think Kari Lake presented very compelling evidence. I was actually surprised to see that the court said no, considering they actually showed video of a guy just clicking through approve without actually doing any signature verification. Kari Lake's team says they will appeal, but that's what the judge has said. In the end, it may not have the biggest meaning on the upcoming elections, or I should say, quite the inverse. In the end, it may not be that Kari Lake wins, but that the fight she was engaged in resulted in a major push to change how elections are being handled. Let's read this story from Timcast.com. Arizona lawmakers have banned the use of electronic voting machines in the 2024 election. The legislation, Senate Concurrent Resolution 1037, prohibits counties from using EVMs that contain electronic components that are manufactured, assembled, or tested in foreign nations that pose a threat to the U.S. As the Western Journal reported earlier this year, in Maricopa County, where 60% of the state's voters lives, Dominion Voting Systems technology is used, while nearly all other counties use election systems and software. Both companies' voting equipment use components that have microchips sourced from China and Taiwan. Back in 2017, the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security issued a statement clearly designating elections infrastructure as critical infrastructure, which means these electronic systems must have safeguards in place to prevent any attacks which threaten our national security, Arizona Senate Majority Leader Sonny Borelli wrote in a press release. SCR 1037 was passed by both the State House and Senate, but was vetoed by Governor Katie Hobbs. However, the U.S. Constitution gives state legislatures plenary authority over elections, which means lawmakers have complete power over elections with no limitations. So the legislature will override Hobbs's veto. Citing the governor's veto, Borelli said state lawmakers are exercising our plenary authority to see that no electronic voting systems in the state of Arizona are used as the primary method of conducting, counting, tabulating, or verifying federal elections, unless those systems meet necessary standards of protection. Under SCR, Arizona counties may not use electronic voting hardware, software, or components unless three criteria have been met. All components are designed, manufactured, integrated, and assembled in the U.S. from trusted suppliers using processes accredited by the U.S. Department of Defense. The source code used in any computerized voting machine is made available to the public. Bravo on that count. Let's give a big old shout out to Ian Crossland, who's on Timcast IRL, for constantly calling for such measures. The ballot images and system log files from each tabulator are recorded on a drive that can be written onto once with a clear chain of custody and with contents made available on the Secretary of State's website free of charge within 24 hours after polls close. On Monday, May 22nd, Borelli notified all 15 state counties, as well as all relevant committees and departments, that per SCR 1037, no county will be permitted to use electronic voting systems in the upcoming 2024 elections unless they meet the requirements set forth in the new law. Well, there are some challenges here. I think it's good. I think it's a step in the right direction. Things to pay attention to. Just because the ballots are now on paper does not mean they will be counted accurately. You still have mail-in voting. You still have signature verification. In fact, it may be more difficult in some respects to verify signatures if they're not digitally uploaded. You have to find the two pieces of paper. And that being said, my attitude is if you lose the ballots at the envelope with and the ballot stuff with a signature on it, vote don't count. If you cannot verify the signature, vote don't count. That's it. This is all very, very interesting. And I'm wondering what we will see in Arizona in 2024. What are your predictions? Do you think we will see a heavy swing Republican? I wonder. And I wonder, if so, how they will actually explain away that phenomenon. I think it's fair to say that by switching to paper ballots, you'll likely see a Republican swing simply because Republicans are more likely to be showing up and filling out ballots. But we'll see. I don't know for sure. Maybe it changes nothing. maybe just makes things take longer and more confusing. I think if France can do it, and if we did it forever, up until recently, I don't see why we cannot do it again. Now, here's where it gets real interesting. Dominion Voting expects to fold despite historic payout in Fox News settlement. CEO says company has suffered immeasurable reputational damage after allegations the company's machines stole the 2020 election. Now, look, I don't know nothing about no dominions or anything like that. I've not seen their source code. I don't know. I don't care if Dominion did or did not do anything. Whatever. Got nothing to do with it. I think we should get rid of all Dominion voting systems from all elections in general. I don't like the idea of proprietary code used to count our elections. I want to know the code. That's why the AZ legislature said the code must be made public so that we can review the code to make sure it does what it does. Now, I'm not accusing Dominion of wrongdoing. I'm just saying the people have a right to see your code. So my attitude is, Dominion, release all of your code so that we can see it. And if you don't, then I don't think we should be using it. I agree with the AZ legislature. I do think to a certain degree, it is kind of sad that this company is folding, but you know what? Businesses fold all the time. 1 month after reaching a historic settlement in a defamation case, the head of Dominion Voting Systems, which supplies electronic voting machines, says his company will likely go under because of the reputational damage sustained after the 2020 election. Why is that? What I don't understand. Is it because are you saying that many jurisdictions won't use Dominion voting? Why? Are these jurisdictions of the opinion that you've done something wrong? No, serious question, Dominion. Why wouldn't a company, I understand in Arizona, they're saying meet these criteria. So Dominion, just invest in locally sourced parts and manufacturing. You would rather have your company go out of business than just set up a factory here in the US to run your business? I call shenanigans. I wonder if this is something else. I don't know exactly what they're doing. But if the widespread opinion of the United States is that the 2020 election was the safest election we've ever had, then you've got nothing to worry about. And coming out and saying you're going to go under makes no sense. Now, you may lose certain clients, like maybe Arizona, or you could just adapt your business model and make your machines here. I don't understand why you wouldn't. Like, even if Dominion was doing bad things behind the scenes, wouldn't they still at least want to exist as a company? I just don't understand. I don't know. Whatever. They say it's just easier for our customers to use something that's not Dominion. John Poulos, Dominion CEO, told Time. We just know that our business ultimately goes to zero. Currently, Dominion has 6 other pending defamation cases against Newsmax, One American News, as well as several allies of former President Donald Trump, including Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, Patrick Byrne, and Mike Lindell. It basically puts us in a death spiral. And by accusing us of the greatest American crime in history, it turned us, as one of our customers had described, into the most demonized brand in the U.S. Dominion products are used in 28 states. Shortly after the 2020 election, multiple lawsuits were filed, which included testimony from experts who said the voting machines had vulnerabilities, including being connected to the internet. Multiple people alleged the machines switched votes from Trump to President Biden. I don't care for any of those narratives. I think it's really obvious how Biden ended up winning 2020. And I think too many people don't want to accept the reality because it's easier to say we are on the right side of history. We're the silent majority instead of we lost. We lost. I voted for Trump. Here's how you win. Remember that Time magazine article, The Shadow Campaign to Save the Election? You got to do that. They tell you what they did. And there were people saying Trump will be reinstated in March. No, he's not. That never happened. It was never going to happen. Now, here's what you do. Ballot harvesting operations, ballot chasing, universal mail-in voting, ground game on the ground, Scott Pressler style, and you win. Now, to be fair, another thing I think y'all should be doing is paper ballots so that we can easily adjudicate these issues and getting rid of electronic voting systems that have proprietary code. We need to be able to see that code. I think that's all good. I think AZ is doing the right thing, and it has nothing to do with Kari Lake. If Kari Lake wins or loses, we'll see what happens in appeal. The media is, of course, saying it's over. It's not. They already, the lower court dismissed this first. She appealed. The higher court said yes. It went back to the lower court. Lower court now says no. She's going to appeal again. And I have a feeling Supreme Court might be like, hey, there's a video of them not doing signature verification. We got a problem here. But we'll see. I think irrespective of that, Arizona will do the right thing by bringing in better machines or paper ballots. We'll We'll see how it goes. But this is the kind of thing that needs to be happening across the country right now in states where Republicans control the legislatures. Make it happen. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around and I'll see you all shortly.